As of right now, the big account is sitting around $356,000. That's a big number. The portfolio has gained $160,000 from November 7th, 2023 to today. So that's a little bit less than 3 years in the making, 160K. And that makes our annualized rate of return 37%. It's a really good number, guys. The S&P does like 10% a year on average. And if you count for inflation, you're getting like 7% on your money. So hitting anywhere in the 30s is an amazing rate of return. So if we can keep this up, we'll be growing this account to $1 million really soon. And now if we look at the smaller account, 3 months ago, I started this at $10,000. It's currently trading near $14,000 already. So that dollar amount gain isn't really that much, nothing to, to get super excited about, but that rate of return is amazing. Okay, that's an incredible return in just 3 months. All right. I'm not a 24-year-old billionaire. I'm not a 24-year-old millionaire. I'm 24 years old and I have around $500,000. That was what I was able to do. And I was able to achieve my number because I got such high returns in the stock market. That significantly elevated my net worth, for sure. And I would not have been able to do any of that without finding a strategy that works for me. Now, believe me when I tell you this, guys, you can do this too. If I did it, you can do it. And I was able to do it pretty much, since I started working when I was like maybe around 16 years old. I got my first job and started saving. So I'm 24 now. So that's 8 years. You can for sure do this in 8 years. I can say that with verifiable proof because I did it. 8 years, you can achieve this for sure. And shoot for the stars. You could probably do even more than I did. Now, before we get started today, just smash that like button. Give it a good old smashing. Because that just helps a lot. It helps us grow the channel for sure. Oh, and by the way, if anybody here wants access to Altoneer to enhance their stock trading and see all the politicians' stock trades and also now see lobbying data, you can do that on your phone. You can do it on your desktop. All you got to do is just tap the first link in the description or tap the pinned comment down below. Okay, so there are 3 core subjects I want to cover in today's video. So number 1 is most compelling politician stocks right now. So for this first subject, I want to show you some intriguing stock trades that our politicians have been making recently, including trades from President Trump and Nancy Pelosi. We got some new stuff coming out from them just in the past week. So I want to talk about that stuff and show you the most interesting and compelling trades that I have found within their disclosures. Number 2, how to get rich in the stock market. I'm going to be breaking down a few trades that pretty much completely changed the direction of my account. So there were some like critical moments with my trading that got me to this point. There's a few trades that were like totally game changing for me. I want to break those down. We're going to talk about why I got into those in the first place so you can kind of understand how I got to this point. And then for number 3, we have Altoneer Academy. So this is something I want to talk about with you guys with Landen, the developer. Right now, we're getting this on the site. It's going to be a full-blown politician trading course. So it's going to be the YouTube channel on steroids. We're teaching a lot of stuff. I think it's like going to be 3+ hours of content. And that's just to start. We're probably going to add more. That's going to be for every Altoneer member. We're going to be basically showing you a sneak peek into that at the end of this video and talking more about that and kind of our long-term thinking with Altoneer Academy. We'll have more courses coming out on there too. So let's get started. We're going to be talking most compelling stock trades right now that politicians are making. So this is the first one I want to show you guys. Pretty interesting stuff. So this might be worth watching. 2 stocks Pelosi bought that haven't moved yet. Alliance Bernstein, she's down 12% on that. And she's down 4% on Vistra since entering the plays. And by the way, I post all of this on our X page, and I also post it in our subreddit on Reddit. So if you guys want to get those kind of updates, definitely follow us on there too. This is stuff that really isn't on the YouTube channel very often. Interestingly, 4 different politicians piled into Vistra after her initial entry on January 14th, 2025. So both could be opportunities to get in at a cheaper price than she did. And this is interesting. I like to let people visualize what's happening. So Pelosi jumped in here. then you had Johnson, then you had McLean, Letlow, and Ro Khanna. And you want to know what's interesting? None of them have sold the stock. They're all still holding. So this is a very unique situation where you have Pelosi jumping in. You also have Ro Khanna jumping in, which he's pretty good. He bought SanDisk at like $42 a share. Now SanDisk is trading, what, like $2,000 a share, I believe. So that's a whole nother story. That's an incredible run. So long story short, we have some good politicians buying this stock, and it's trading around the same price that pretty much all of them jumped in at. So yeah, it might be a good opportunity there. And then I wanted to make this to show you my position. And I actually just realized that I, for some reason, highlighted Tempest AI here. That was on accident. Vistra is up here, if you guys can see it right here. So Vistra actually makes up 6.76% of my account. I currently have $900 in there, and I'm down 1.5% on the position. Am I going to add more shares? I've thought about it. Currently, though, I think I want to continue to add on to my Uber position, as it's like the smallest position of my account. And Pelosi recently, like within the last week, disclosed that she bought call options on Uber, which expire, I think, in March of 2027. So I want to get more Uber in my portfolio, I think. So that's probably going to be the next buy that I do. But yeah, Vistra, you know, as long as it's trading flat over time, at some point I'm going to start adding to Vistra just because of everything that's happened so far. If that stays the same, if politicians keep buying into that, then I really have no choice but to continue to add. So yeah, that's my thoughts on adding more Vistra. And then in terms of selling, I'm not selling. I'm keeping it. Next up, we have another Pelosi one. So one more worth mentioning. Pelosi took a $250,000 stake in Amazon calls last December. Right now, you could pick up shares very close to her entry price. Now, by the way, I posted this. How long ago was this? Yesterday. So it could be a little bit different, but her entry price was $232 per share. The price at yesterday was $239 per share. So trading very close. Another one that could be good. Okay. And then next up, this is the behemoth here. We got Donald Trump. We got our president here. He disclosed some stock trades 2 days ago, I think. 2 days ago, or maybe just yesterday. And there's his signature right there. A long old form. Look at this. Holy crap, dude. He disclosed, I think, upwards of 2,000 to 3,000 trades. This is honestly unheard of. I don't think I've ever seen a politician do, or a president doing this. This is crazy. Okay. But I went through his trades and I found some stuff that was interesting. For instance, I found that he bought Albemarle stock. Okay. And this is a stock that I highlighted 2 weeks ago on Twitter, 2 or 3 weeks ago on Twitter. So this just made it interesting. It was only a $50,000 purchase. So, you know, out of all the money Trump has, that's like very insignificant. That would be like me spending $5 on Albemarle stock. So really not very significant at all, but he did buy it and he didn't sell it. So it made this a little bit more compelling. So I want to read this to you. So this is huge. Yesterday, we posted about Senator John Boozman's newly disclosed purchase of one of the world's largest lithium producers, Albemarle. Today, thanks to our followers, and shout out to Reddit because the Redditors told me about this, we discovered that he sent a letter to the director of the OSC. Direct quote, "We urge the department to treat Smackover lithium development as a priority investment." By the way, Smackover, I think, is just an area in the United States where they do lithium stuff. So the letter was sent on May 12th. The stock purchase was on May 15th. Letter has been attached. What a joke. And here's the letter. Here's the actual highlighting of it. Doesn't want to load, so just find it on X. You can look at it all you want. So that one was interesting, and it was interesting that Trump bought that. And actually, while we're at it, let's go to our Twitter page here because I posted another thing about Trump's trades on here, and I want to show you the breakdown. So right here, Trump added 2,400 transactions to his record, some big moves. He purchased $31.5 million of Amazon. He sold $10.5 million of Home Depot. So if you're holding Home Depot shares out here, I don't know, maybe you got to drop that. I'm not sure. And then he purchased $6.7 million of Apple, and then almost $5.5 million of United Health. One thing that's actually interesting about United Health and Amazon, I think these are some of the most purchased stocks by members of Congress. And interestingly enough, United Health is on that list, and Trump's buying it. So that's kind of interesting there. They're probably buying it for the rebound. So I think I'm going to do this a little bit more often. I post on these social medias like daily. I have a pretty good amount of research that I've done throughout the week in between me posting YouTube videos. So I think I'm going to give you guys like the best stuff in these YouTube videos like this, just to give you all the tips right up front. Yeah, I think that's what I'm going to do from now on. So next up, I'm about to spill the beans on how I was able to grow a net worth of close to $500,000 by age 24. And out of curiosity, I asked ChatGPT if I was in the top 1% for my net worth at my age. And here's what it said. So top 1% of US households typically requires a net worth of around $13 to $15 million. So I'm not even close to that at all. Now, here's for my age. So top 1% of 24-year-olds, just an individual person. There is an official government cutoff, but estimates suggest that a net worth of that age 24 would likely put you well into the top 1% or very close. So I can, from ChatGPT, I can verifiably say that I am well into the top 1% for my age. And if I continue to work and continue to see these returns in the stock market, I am going to remain in the top 1% well into my 30s, well into my 40s and 50s and 60s. I'm going to be 1% the whole time if I can continue these returns and continue to grow my businesses and just shovel money into the stock market using this strategy. It works. So now I want to take a moment and tell you guys a few key reasons of why I was able to grow my net worth. So number one, you need to work towards something every single day. Sure, you can have a couple days off. You can even take weekends off. It's fine. Okay, but you need to, besides your 9 to 5, you need to have some sort of side hustle. You need to have something going on, and you need to be creating businesses. You need to increase your income significantly. Okay, so I have an example from my past. I can kind of talk about this to you guys. So if you guys didn't know, I was a plumber before. So I was plumbing I think the end of 2020 and into 2021, and then a little bit into 2022. I think I was plumbing. Yeah. So I was plumbing for probably a year and a half, possibly something like that. So anyway, when I was a plumber, I made time to work on my business and research stocks every other day. So how it would go is I would do plumbing 5 days a week. You know, I'd get up at 7 a.m. I'd arrive at work at 7 a.m. So I would wake up at 6 a.m. to get ready and all that. And then I would get off work at around 3:30 to 4 p.m. I'd get home. And then on like Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, that's not always the exact thing, but it was about every other day, I would spend the rest of the entire day on my computer. And I think at that time I was trying to do YouTube videos back then. And then I was selling like a stock market thing, like as an affiliate. And, you know, I brought in maybe an extra $1,000, maybe $3,000 in my time doing that. I didn't know really what I was doing. And then I was on top of that, I was researching stocks and trying to figure out how to do the stock market. So that was my hustle. Okay. And then even before that, my hustle before was eBay. So I had a job when I was 16 working at the cafeteria at the college in my town. And then when I'm not at work, I'm either at school, hanging out with friends, or I am I was literally going to garage sales, buying stuff to flip on eBay. That's what I was doing. And that one, I actually made a couple $1,000s doing that. And when you're 16 and you make a couple $1,000s, that's pretty significant, especially when you save all of it. Save it all. That's pretty significant. So make time to work on something on a weekly basis. Work on something that is going to elevate your future net worth long term. Oh, and by the way, most of this time, I took weekends off. So you can still have your weekends, you can still have a life. But when you are working, work hard and try your best to not waste your time while working. Just really do it. Just push through and stick with it. And by the way, that mindset and work ethic that I had led me to have $50,000 when I was 19. You can make it happen. You just gotta really play your cards right. Don't waste your time and just make stuff happen. Like, make it happen. Believe in yourself. You can do it. Next up is save. Can I say it again? Save your money, especially in the beginning. Now, I might be talking to like 5% of people here, but I'm just talking from my experience. But if you are like 16 right now, 17, 18, save everything you got. Because if you're still living with your parents right now and your parents don't constantly ask you for money like some parents do because they need help paying the bills or something. I was fortunate enough to not have parents that constantly need money to pay bills and things like that. So every dollar that I made was my dollar and I got to do whatever I want with it. And you know what I chose to do with it? Save. Now, I did spend some of the money, but it was probably like 10 to 20% of it. So I had a massive percentage of my money is being saved. Tucked away. In the beginning, it was just tucked away into a savings account at my bank. Okay. And then when I turned 18, the day I turned 18, I started an investment account on TD Ameritrade. They don't even exist anymore, but I started an account over there. And then I pretty much shoveled all of my money into it. And then I think very quickly I doubled all of it because we were coming out of the COVID-19 crash. It's just like a perfect scenario for me because I didn't know what I was doing. But I just knew that I needed to invest my money. I needed to figure out how to invest money on my own and do it young because compounding interest, is an amazing thing that exists in the world. Math, it's really good. And just having, by the time I was 19, just having 50K, invest that into the stock market and get slightly above average returns, like 12, 13%. That's my retirement. That's literally my retirement. I could spend the rest of my days and have that original 50K invested for the rest of my life. And then by the time I'm 65, I could probably have enough money for retirement. And throughout that whole time, me doing all my other stuff, I could have spent all my money. I already had my retirement set when I was 19. That's compounding interest. And to get back to the saving money thing, I've been saving my money since I was 16 years old when I got my first job at the cafeteria. And an example of me saving money when I was like a kid, like we're talking like 15 probably. Like if I'm hanging out with friends or something and somebody's like, yo, we should go to the bowling alley. I would go to the bowling alley. I don't know if it costs much, maybe like $10 or something, but maybe their parents would pay for it or whatever, just pay for all the kids. But when I'm there, I'm not like everybody else is like buying nachos and buying a drink or something, stuff like that. I ain't buying nothing. You know what I'm saying? I'm just there. I'm just hanging out. And it's fine. Because when you look back at the memories of hanging out with your friends, you're not thinking about the nachos that you bought and the Coca-Cola that you drank. You're thinking about just hanging out with your bros, and that's it. So in the moment, yeah, you're not going to enjoy the nachos or whatever. And by the way, I buy the nachos because it's kind of insignificant for me. I just buy the nachos, whatever. But back then, when you have like $100 in your bank account, when you're like 15, if you even have $100, dude, don't spend $5 on nachos and then $3 on a drink. Like, stop, save it, please save it. It's worth it. And then the last thing that I want to talk, there's the bowling alley. The last thing I want to talk about is investment strategy. So the investment strategy is really what took me to the moon, straight up. So when I first started trading, I didn't know what I was doing, and I ended up breaking even probably on my money around 3 years because you had that COVID-19 upswing, and then you had 2021 was pretty good, and then 2022 was a bloodbath, and I just ended up break even. And I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't even take profits. I just ended up losing. So that's what happens when you don't know what you're doing and you have no clear strategy in place. You're just willy-nilly investing your money into the stock market, into stuff that probably shouldn't be investing your money into. Now, in 2023, I think, around 2023, I discovered the politicians, that they disclose their stock trades and everything. And then I started to, research into it, and everybody's saying Nancy Pelosi like outperforms consistently all the time, like majorly outperforming the markets. And I was like, really? Like, wait, hold on. I can see all of her stock trades. Okay, so what? I just buy the same stocks that she's investing into, right? That makes sense. I'd make the same percent I make around the same percent return. Yeah, so I just started buying the same stocks that politicians started buying, and now I'm here. And the cool thing about this is it wasn't a gradual like learning of how to trade the markets. It was, I don't know what I'm doing, and then I'm copying other people that know how to trade the market. And then so immediately I went from super not very intelligent retail investor to now I am basically buying the same stocks that Nancy Pelosi's husband is buying, because he's a ex venture capitalist and he knows everything about the stock market probably. And now I'm basically investing with his brain. And that is why my account is up $160,000 in the past 3 years, a little bit less than 3 years, actually. That is crazy. On average, for a 3-year span, that's like over $50,000 a year. That's like somebody's income. I can't even believe it. And you know what's weird? It doesn't even feel like anything. It's just it's a bigger number. It doesn't like, here's something you guys also need to realize. Like when you get to this level, you can't just say you can't just call it quits and say, yo, I'm buying a Lambo. I could buy a Lambo in cash today and still have like over 100K left. I'm not doing that stuff. Okay. I could upgrade my house, my rent. I rent this house. I could double my rent, and it technically wouldn't really matter. But then when you start to, if you spend an extra $1,000 a month on rent or something like that, you put that into an investment calculator, take it long term, and look at those compounding returns. Instead of $1,000, it's more like you're spending an extra 10K a month long term on rent. It's not worth it. You let your money work for you and you don't spend it. I still save, at this point, I probably save like 90% of my income. Okay. I spend like nothing. All right. So now I want to talk about actual numbers, actual stats here. So I'm doing the politician trading strategy. And you get into several different stocks. They don't all end up being winners. Some of them you actually lose on. Like some of the stocks I'm in, I think some of the worst ones I'm probably down, as of right now, probably like 20 to 30% on some. But then on the flip side of that coin, there's some that are up over 100%. There's some that are up over 200%. And there's some that at some points were up over 400%. And all it takes is those ones that run up like 400% to completely like erase all of the losses you've ever had on those, like the unrealized losses on those other stocks. All it takes is one to blow up to just completely change your whole portfolio. So that's why this is really great. So I bought AMD last year in 2025. This is in the big account here because Marjorie Taylor Greene was loading up on AMD and buying the dip. I'm up 376% since then. And I think at the peak, I was up probably 420%. And I've made, out of the $160,000 I've made in the past 3 years, 100,000 of that came from AMD. 100K in unrealized gains, additional unrealized gains, just in 1 year. That's incredible. So all it takes is one thing to just take it to the next level. So that's really the main trade that took me to the next level on my big account. And then on the smaller account that I started 3 months ago with $10,000, mind you, 3 months ago, I'm up 91% on the core holdings. That's a Debbie Wasserman Schultz trade. So Debbie Wasserman's buying that one. I'm buying it. It's doubled since then. And it actually came down a little bit. I was up over 100% at one point. Micron, I'm up 154% on that one. At some point I was up over 200%. So Micron's under $1,000 right now. And then AMD, also I was up a little bit. I was up more on that one too, but I'm up 130% on that one right now. This is why the $10,000 has turned into almost $14,000 in 3 months. It's because of trades like these. It doesn't take very many to get like a 30% return in 3 months. It doesn't take that much. AMD, that was Marjorie Taylor Greene. That was also Mark Wayne Mullen. And then Micron is just, there was a lot of politicians buying. And then Icor Holdings was Debbie Wasserman Schultz, all politician stuff. And the best trades I got into by far. And then, I mean, don't get me wrong, like a 25% return in 3 months is pretty good. This is a Nancy Pelosi stock right here. And then you got NetApp right here. I'm up 43% on that. I don't even remember which politician bought that one, but I know there's a lot of buying pressure on NetApp. It's just like watching the trends, just looking at what the politicians are deciding to invest their money into, and it's a matter of just buying the same stuff that they're buying. It's as simple as that. And then here are the results. These are real life results that I am seeing right now. All right, so I hope I learned you guys something good today. Next up, I'm going to be hopping in a call with Landen, the developer. This is actually a picture that we took. This is actually before we even, I think, launched Altoneer. He's still coding it, working on it. So I'll be hopping in a call with Landen, and then we're going to be showing you, Altoneer Academy. So this is just a screenshot I took from Altoneer, one of the Altoneer Academy videos, where I'm just teaching you guys how to do this, like how to do the strategy, the politician trading strategy using Altoneer. So there I am, wearing my suit, getting all professional up in here. So we're going to hop in that call right now. Let's do it. All right, we're here with Landen. What's up?
What's up?
So today we are going to be talking about Altoneer Academy, and you just kind of show them what you're working on. And this is going to be a thing that's released to all Altoneer members, hopefully this month. And Landen's just working on the UI and building all the infrastructure for it. And then we're going to have the course. I already filmed all the course material. So we just got to make this and then we'll slap it all up. Boom. You guys have it. So Landen, why did we want to launch this to everybody?
Well, we've seen that people kind of wanted a little bit of guidance. So we're trying to give you that guidance to use the politician data even better than you were already using it. Hopefully that would be the ideal case.
Yeah.
Teach you.
Yeah.
Teach the students.
We wanted like a one-stop shop where you can just learn everything all at once in like 3 hours. In the grand scale of things, 3 hours isn't that long. So you can learn pretty much everything inside of our brains in just 3 hours. And then also, if you guys are Altoneer members, you also have access to direct contact with us. You ask any questions, we'll have it answered. And it's just a lot better to have a one-stop shop than having to like dissect random tweets that I post or watching these YouTube videos where maybe, I don't know, only 10% of it teaches you and the rest of it's just talking about stuff. So this is just teaching straight up the whole time. So yeah, if you guys are interested in having that, definitely become a member of Altoneer, number one, and then do that this month because it's going to be releasing soon. Landen, go to the other page that you've been working on. This is kind of the interface that we would have. You just click one. It kind of looks like YouTube. It's like a playlist. It's going to be a playlist of a bunch of videos. And yeah, you just watch through it. And then actually in the future, this isn't going to happen right now, but in the future, we want to add kind of like an AI chat. So you could chat with AI about the topics in the videos. So like, hey, what's that thing Jackson said? I didn't quite understand that. Enter. And then AI will just tell you what it is. And it will kind of help you guys. And actually something we might add, this is something we talked about, Landen, maybe at the bottom of the video, there's like a note-taking section where they could take notes while watching the video. and then save it, and it'll just save for you guys. So we might do something like that. Is there anything else that we should talk about with the course? I know there's not like much here.
Yeah, not much here right now.
Oh, I know. So we're gonna be the first course that's coming out is gonna be the politician course. The next one that comes out is gonna be the lobbying course. The next one is gonna be the next thing and the next thing. So we want to have a portfolio of courses for you guys to watch, and then to start off, these courses are like, I kind of just film them, like just click the record button. They're not like super high production or anything, but information production, very high, I guess. It's kind of like a way you could say it. Information dense, production quality low. Later on, once we have probably more funding, we're going to really ramp up the courses and make them super high quality, kind of like a masterclass, like on masterclass.com, something like that, to that level. So that's something that we have had in mind. So Landon,
Yes.
you got anything else to say? Any last words or anything?
Peace.
Peace out.